So, Jacob, did you hear about how the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat played yesterday?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like the game of the year.
Yeah, JJ Redick broke the
Hey, you guys want to buy some books? We could do some book reviewing. I've been reading this bad boy, and I'm ready to talk about it.
What books?
Oh, let me tell you, the best books.
Oh, Christian Hall, by the way.
Cole Nelson.
That's for you.
Let's go review some books.
Let's go.
Book time, everyone. Book time. It's book time, guys. It's book time. Yeah, book time.
Hello, and welcome to part 1 of 2 of our winter book review series. I'm going to be doing To Sleep in a Sea of Stars today. I've got some things to say, and that's why we're here. If I had nothing to say, wouldn't review it, but I have something to say about this and another book, part 2. And let's just jump into it, Jake. So, obviously today, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. That's our book. That's what we're going for.
Right.
Written by Christopher Paolini. Clocks in at right around 900 pages, not counting all of the scientific papers in the back, because there are scientific papers in the back. Obviously, you know I've been looking forward to this book for a long time.
Yes.
Many years I've known that Paolini was writing a science fiction project, and I'm a big fan of his from the Aragon Inheritance Cycle books, and I couldn't wait. What do you know about the book, Jake?
I know there's a cover that is blue that has someone floating in perhaps a sea of many stars.
That's exactly right.
From what you told me, there's a war of some type going on.
Yeah.
And I think you said that someone woke up from a cryogenic sleep.
Yes, so several times. There's, first off, like, we're going to be doing this in 2 parts. We've got spoiler free with Jake, and then when we switch to Grayson, that's spoiler mode. Because Jake doesn't want the book spoiled for him for some reason. I can't imagine why.
Right, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so this book is set about 200 years from now. I think might be 300, 400. It's in the nearish future, though. It's not like thousands of years ahead. It is set in kind of a realistic future with spaceships that kind of follow the laws of physics, and they've got, you know, technology that kind of makes sense. It's very grounded. Just to read a little bit of the summary, we're going to go into this here. During a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. So, you know, she has to head out there, save the world from annihilation, basically. It's, to spoil my opinion on the book, it is good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, Jake. I thought it was excellently written. It had a couple flaws, for sure. It's not perfect,
Right.
but it is very good. I think the characters are well fleshed out. However, they are not super unique. You feel like you've seen these same people 100 other times. They're kind of basic, like cookie cutter characters.
Right. Like fitting their archetypes?
Yeah, they're archetypes, right? I mean, you've got like the no-nonsense machine boss who's in charge of engineering, and then you've got like the real hard, strict security chief. And you've got like the nerdy people who are kind of eccentric, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not a problem, it's not bad, it's just different. It's not different. That's the thing. It's the same. It's just the same.
Right.
So he does it well, but it is very known quantity. It's very known quantity. You're reading it, and it's nothing new.
Got it.
However, it's excellently written, and these characters feel real. They don't feel like they're, you know, high school archetypes. They feel like they're, you know, people in a world with something to do.
Right. There's no purpose, and it's kind of
Right, exactly.
all to nothing.
And I think that's really great because instead of going down the whole, you need, a different personality than you've ever read before, right? You need someone who's deep and has layers, and it's like, you can do that, and that's great to do. And our main character has that. Our main character is not just a cookie cutter, run of the mill, bop, 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 bop. It's the side characters that are a lot more of that, But the main character is very interesting, very deep, has a complex morality, so you're not bored. And the world building. The world building, Jake. So good. Absolutely so good. I can't believe it's as good as it is. You don't even feel really like he's building the world. You just feel like you're in it, which is perfection.
Right, it's not jarring.
It's not jarring at all. Like, I often talk about Brandon Sanderson's world building, obviously, in The Way of Kings especially. It's so detailed, it's so rich, and the world, even though it's nothing like Earth, you totally understand everything that's happening. But he kind of goes out of his way to explain it. He's kind of like, this is different, and that's a good thing. But Paolini in To Sleep in a Sea of Stars does not do that. He just acts like you know what's happening. But not in a confusing manner, because he's thinking about it ahead of time. You can tell, right? Because he's acting like you already know what's happening, but he's not just starting out in a weird situation and acting
show,
like you
not
understand.
tell.
Right, exactly, right? So, like, you won't understand, but he'll start you out with something small, right? So, like, in the first, chapter, the first couple pages, the main character is, talking to herself. But she's not talking to herself, she just has, implants in her body so that she can, access computers and stuff without having to go over to a computer interface. And so it's like, he just acts like you understand what that means. And you won't for the first time they say it, but you figure it out so fast because it's so perfectly written. And I think that's a good thing.
Sounds effective.
It's excellent. It's excellently done.
So you really just fit in this world.
We're gonna jump into spoilers now. So we're gonna send Jake away.
Yes, this is where I leave. Thank you for having me.
He's like, you'll be back, Jake. All right, we're back with spoilers. So I didn't want to talk about any of the plot of the book with Jake, but of course, I'm happy to talk about the plot of the book. Right?
Yeah, because I've already read the book.
Well, you're not gonna read the book, which is fine. The book is horribly paced. That is its biggest issue. It does not know what it's doing with its pacing. It is constant action until the moment that the action stops, and then boom, silence. For literally nothing. So let me describe a scene to you, okay?
I'm listening.
Our main character,
Which is
Kira.
Kira.
I didn't actually read it, I remembered as I was opening it. Our main character, Kira, right, she finds this alien exoskeleton, basically, right? It attaches itself to her body and covers her in an alien. She's covered in an alien. There's an alien organism around her body. And it's indestructible. She can't get hurt by anything, right? You shoot her, bounces off. She's fine. Laser beams, bounce off. She's fine. So, she's being held by the government, being studied on a ship in orbit, right? And she's stuck in this room. She's being tortured. They're trying to find out what this thing is happening, and then aliens attack. Boom! Crazy thing. Everything's flying around. The ship's exploding. It's self-destructing. You've got the other ship firing on it. You've got aliens on the ship killing people. Everyone's freaking out. Everything's happening. Then she gets onto an escape pod. She flies out an airlock. She barely makes it in, right? I mean, everything's flying around. Everything's flying around. And then she literally sits still for 3 months. So then there's 2 chapters of her literally not moving.
After
Instantly, right? She flies out the airlock, she catches onto the escape pod that was jettisoned, she crawls herself in, she pressurizes it, then she sits in a chair. And because you have to wait for the ship to actually travel, because he uses very real estimates on how fast you can go. So they're going faster than light, but they're still going between stars, so it still takes months. So he just says, and then she sat still. I mean, you know, he does elaborate and he goes into like what she's doing, but it's like you go from the most insane action sequence, right, where she's flying in space, for goodness sakes, and then silence, complete and utter silence.
Sounds like.
And then instantly, as soon as she starts to move, right, she gets into another solar system, right, and she's just waking herself up, and then instantly another battle, and everything's flying around, and people are freaking out, and everything's blowing up, and it's like, what the heck?
Sounds like a book I'd read.
It's pretty good. And like when I was reading it originally, I kind of felt like the pacing was just nonstop. Like it was nonstop action because I was just blanking out all the blank space. But after thinking about it, after, you know, like running it through my head a couple times and pondering what had happened, I realized, no, there were gaps. There were just chapters of silence. Well, I can tell you, we had opening action sequence, gap. We had action sequence in a star system, gap. We had mid-book climax, gap. We had secondary action sequence, gap. Finale. And the finale is like 300 pages of non-stop action. I mean, it's like
300 pages.
It's 300 pages of non-stop. I swear it must be 300 pages. And it's ridiculous. That's the biggest problem, by far. But it's also, it keeps the book moving. Like, you really feel like there's a schedule to keep with this book. Like, you do not feel like he's just waiting around, he's filling time. There's no filler in this book. None of it's filler. It is just, he's doing what he can in the time he has and the pages he has, because he didn't want to make it 3,000 pages.
Why not?
Because it's just not how he likes to write. He likes to, you know, get things done when they're done.
How long did it take him to write that?
7 years.
7 years?
7 years.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So he's...
I can't even...
It's a lot.
I couldn't do that.
I know. That's what I'm thinking, dude. I'm like, man, it took me 7 years to write a book. Oh my goodness. But I mean, it's great. It really is. I mean, my enjoyment of it is enormous. So, you know, what can I say? Really, in the end, other than I loved it. However, the end of this book, if we're in spoilers, anybody watching this should have read the book, which is basically just Jake once he's read it. He's gonna rewatch this, I'm sure.
Oh, he's gonna read the book?
He's gonna read it eventually, I think, once he finishes the fourth Aragon book.
Which is a couple years.
Could be, yeah. You never know with him. It's been a couple years already, so.
You're 40? Cool.
Yeah.
I just read the Christopher Paolini book.
I read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Oh my goodness, that ending!
He's released like 4 other books.
We're gonna spoil the ending. The ending is completely nuts. I mean, this book...
It's 300 pages, so I'd hope it is.
Yeah, right? This book is like, it's pretty by the book, as you say. Like, it doesn't like break the mold almost at all through the whole thing. It's not expected, but it's also not surprising, right? You read it and you go, oh, cool, that's happened, that's fun, awesome. We're moving, that's awesome. But then you get to the end. And the end is where you'll either like the book or you'll hate the book.
You like the book?
I like the book, but the ending just doesn't hit home for me. Okay. So the end is, right, so she has this alien exosuit that no one can understand, right? Everyone is fighting over it. This whole war is over the thing that's attached to her body because she's indestructible. And so whoever has this is like indestructible. And so the aliens are hunting her specifically. And so she goes, she fights the king alien, epic battle in space. They're flying around. Oh man, it's crazy. She wins, and they're like, oh, we did it. And then she has to like destroy another part of the suit that had detached and was like taking over the galaxy. I know, it's crazy, and it goes nuts. And you kind of had hints of what was happening before, but it didn't really like coalesce until the very end. And so she's like, I've got to do it. I've got to go in and do this thing. So she goes and she dives inside of this giant moon-sized alien.
But she's indestructible.
Right, and she's planning on just like stabbing it or something. I don't really know what her idea was. It seemed like a bad idea.
Alien?
But the military that was fighting on her side, they nuke it when she's inside. Because she, like, distracted it, so they got close, and then they nuked it with her inside. So they nuked her. She dies completely. Incinerated.
Even that exoskeleton?
Yeah, because she got nuked. You don't live
Dude,
through a
it's
nuke.
indestructible, I thought.
I thought so, too, until they nuked her. And then she died.
What the heck?
And she's dead for 3 pages. And then she
3
comes
pages?
back to life.
3 pages.
3 pages. Like, it's not meant to be like a fake out death. It's you turn the page, and she's alive again, basically. So she's alive again, and she's coming out, and she's reforming her whole body,
Even the
cell by cell,
exoskeleton?
because of the exoskeleton. And it's now her body is made out of the exoskeleton material. So it, like, fused with her brain, and now it is making a new body for her with
That's
all of
cool.
her thoughts. Yeah, it's cool, and then you start to realize, oh, she can just create matter. And then she realizes this, and so then she starts creating a space station. And this is in the last chapter. This is the last, like, 15 pages, right? So she dies, and then the last 15
how do you
pages...
come up with all that?
It's nuts! It's more like 25 maybe, but it's still like,
Still.
she creates an enormous space station, and then she dictates rules of peace between the aliens and the humans, and she says, and now my time is come, and she turns into a god and leaves. Jake's here, by the way, so we have to wrap up the spoiler section. So I'm not going to keep talking spoilers.
That's a lot.
But yeah, I mean, insane ending. And it doesn't ruin it for me, but it definitely kind of kills the reread value of it.
Yeah?
So, because like when you know that's how it ends, you're just kind of like, well, why did any of the beginning of the book matter? Because if that had happened at the beginning of the book, the same ending would have applied.
Yeah.
The exact same thing would have happened just earlier. So it kind of defeats the stakes. But it doesn't, I don't know. The ending doesn't ruin it for me, but it is definitely very interesting. And highly divisive.
I'll be sure to read it.
I think you'd like it, actually. I think everybody would like it.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll go into final thoughts now.
Part 3.
So, my score for this book, out of 10, would have to be 8.3. I really liked it. But it had some flaws. But I would definitely recommend it to anyone interested in science fiction reading.
Okay.
All right, well, yeah, that's it for this
Sounds
book
like an
review.
amazing book, Jacob. You'll really like it.
Yeah, wait, what is your actual thoughts on all that? Like,
The way you said, okay.
It sounds awesome.
I can't even tell what he's thinking.
He looks so, like, just gone. He looks
So
gone.
tired.
It was a lot, too. Like, what I just talked him through was kind of...
Like, pretty dense.
The entire book.
yeah, the entire book. Thanks for watching. We're going on to shoot the second winter book review now.